Hello, my name is Jasmine Lee, and I am not your mama's astrologer. Welcome to the week. Boy, is this one of those wonderful, helpful, get yourself set up for success weeks, because next week we've got a really big event, astrologically speaking, happening. And this week I see as that beautiful alley-oop to get there, to get to a slam dunk. It is the things that we do to set ourselves up for success that really make all the difference in life and in astrology, turns out. And now I don't like to over-aggrandize big astrological events, because then it kind of feels like this reality television show where you're like, nothing has ever happened like this before. And it's like, I feel as though there have been a lot of those this year. But that's because it's true. There is groundbreaking astrology happening in our world right now. And if you aren't recognizing it and noticing it, maybe you need to pay a little bit more attention, because the world is changing, even just in our technological states, how quickly we are developing and how much is shifting and changing, and the conversations are shifting and changing. But there is a big culminating moment next week that happens, and we call it Barbeau's basket. And it was discovered, named after a French astrologer decades ago who pinpointed this alignment coming. And it forms in the sky kind of a basket, thus Barbeau's basket. And it's really hinging off of Jupiter in Leo opposing Pluto in Aquarius. And then they make all these trines and sextiles to the other, outer planets, Neptune and Uranus, and it's kind of a really big deal. And what it means, though, to those of you who don't do astrology, you're like, what the hell's a trine and a sextile? Come on, get out of here. They're really positive aspects is what they are. But when these four outer planets are making all of these aspects to each other at the same degree, they're all going to be at 4 degrees. So if ever there was a time to get an astrology reading, now is the time, because finding out where these points are affecting you is so important to know, like where you are going to be ignited. Now, you don't have to know, because astrology astrologizes with or without your help. So these things are going to be happening regardless out in the world and in your chart. So you don't have to know. You just have to be a little more intuitive to like feel into, what's being activated. But I am one of those people that likes to be activated. I want to know. I want to know where these things in my chart are being activated. I want to know what I can do to be more proactive, because to me, that is what astrology is for. It is for proactivity and productivity and growing myself. And so, great time to get an astrology reading. Message me, go onto my website, jasmineleeastrology.com, or notyourmamasastrologer.com to get one. But anyway, before, and even if you never got an astrology reading, you're gonna feel it. It is game changer energy. And boy, do I love a plot twist. I read so much that sometimes when times feel difficult or challenging or confusing or sad or all of the above, I try to put myself in my own story. And what is really helpful to me is to think, what is the pattern? What is happening that is making sense, and what is happening in my life that is not making sense? So your homework is to suss out what is making sense and what is not making sense. What is something that is stuck in your existence that you're like, why do I keep coming to this point and I can't figure it out? And everybody has a different, sense of direction in their own life. And so it's really good work to say, this is flowing, this is not. I use astrology to get into flow states, because when there is a Mercury retrograde, which there very much is right now, It is a reflective time to figure out where the blockages are, because Mercury retrograde breaks what was meant to break and stops up what wasn't flowing in the first place. So based on Mercury retrograde already being, we're like in the depths of Mercury retrograde, it should be very easy to pick out what's not flowing, what's not working, what's not grooving with what you yourself are inclined to want. And there's great information there, because this week, as I said, the alley-oop week is here to organize us, align us for the greater blessing of this Barbos basket that's happening. I mean, to have 4 outer planets, to put it into perspective for you, outer planets move very slowly. They're slow. So whatever sign, say your Jupiter or Pluto are in, or Uranus, they move so slow that it becomes more of like a generational thing. You know, people are going to all have that same sign in that same planet. So when these very slow moving planets all come around at the same degree, kind of big dick energy, you guys, not gonna lie. And it's not the guy driving the big car where you're like, we know you're compensating for something. No, no, no. This is like actual big dick energy. This is actual. Let's make some stuff happen. And for some of us, when we meet that decisive moment, it can feel scary and we can shrink away from it. So I am saying all of this now so that you can use this week to really figure out what is the biggest dream, what is the biggest cookie that feels on your horizon, and do you really want it? Do you? Is it really there for you? Because are you there for it? The thing is we can get so stuck in this existence. We can get so full of ourselves and so not full of ourselves. We drain and we fill and we drain and we fill. And sometimes I think we get so lost in process that we lose focus. And oftentimes it's the losing of the focus that creates confusion, frustration, and stuckness. But this week we have some beautiful astrology that kind of does the unsticking. You can feel all the little, stickiness inside of us all of a sudden letting up in certain categories of your life, because we start the week with Venus today. Venus is squaring Uranus. So last week was a big conversation around relationships, and we're starting the week with Venus and ending the week with Mars, just so you know. But starting the week with Venus squaring Saturn or Uranus, it's that feeling of, wow, here are some old patterns that I am just over it. I'm over it. I'm over it. And boy, have I noticed that in my own existence, that my own sense of insecurity, self-worth, and habitual patterns in relationships have really been up. And that can be hard, because that challenges what we know of ourselves, especially those of us who have been in long-term relationships, are currently in long-term relationships, or in long-term situationships. It can be this feeling of, I keep trying to do it this way and it doesn't seem to work anymore. So what can I do? It's like when we take medicine. If you take too much of it, it can actually cause the thing you're trying to cure. So where are you overdoing it? Where are you over patterning it? Where have you felt that this one way has always worked for you, and all of a sudden it's just not working so great? Boy, have I felt that. There's a lot of ways that I get my feelings hurt or fight or do things in relationship that are up for review right now that just aren't working, that just aren't rendering like results that feel productive. And so my thought patterns around what is it that I need to do different in order to gain the result that I want. But I think here's the problem. We don't know what results we're looking for. I think that is the beautiful notion of being human, is that we are all just kicking a can around, not really knowing like where on the path we're kicking it to. But every kick does render a result. And so if you have been kicking this here can whatever you and the can are doing, are going to need some direction this week. So starting with Venus squaring Uranus, it's like your patterns need to change. How you're relating to yourself or to others needs to change, because Venus is about relationships. Venus being in Virgo is about excellence in relationship and or patterning in relationship. Virgo rules our daily life and rituals. Venus is our love sector, so cue our love being in our daily life and rituals, highlighted by Uranus saying this has to change. You can't do the same thing every day and expect a different result. Hello, insanity. Isn't that the definition of insanity? Is doing the same thing and expecting a different result over and over. So here we are, insane, totally unhinged in our relationships, and figuring out why and figuring out where the root cause of that is. And I've got a horrible plot twist for you. It's you. It's me. It's inside of you. This is one of those weeks that is going to show you that it has always been up to you. No one's coming to captain your own ship, my guys. It is us. We are the sail, the oars, the engines, the captains, whatever. I hate boating. That's fine. But we do have to reorient ourselves this week. And we have this new moon on Tuesday. It is in Cancer. So a lot of this reorienting has to do around reparenting ourselves. Here is the gross Freudian vibe, is that most of the times what we're looking for in relationship is what we lacked getting when we were younger, being nurtured. So whatever you didn't get from your home life as a child is definitely up for review this week, of what you are doing and how you are connecting to the masses. You oftentimes, all of us, oftentimes do things for others because we ourselves wish that those things could be done for us. That's what I like to call reparenting. We do it through our actions because we hope that our actions will be a mirror reflection of what we get back. And so often that ain't it, because the person you're doing that to or with or for or whatever you martyr is also going to be received through their lens of what they are needing in a reparenting kind of way. So listen, it doesn't even help us. And listen, I'm the biggest martyr of them all. I am always thinking, how can I make life easier, better for the people around me? And listen, don't stop doing that. That's a beautiful thing to do. I like that about myself, but I notice that I tend to do it the most when I am feeling at a bottom and needing something profoundly from someone else. And that's just not the way to go about it. Using my big girl voice to say what I really need is the way to go about it. But do I know what I really need? Not all the time. And this is one of those weeks where we need some solo time, we need quiet time, and we need to re-stimulate those dreams that are inside of us. But we can't do that if we don't feel safe. So here comes the reparenting. Here comes the new moon in Cancer to be the cold washcloth across our forehead that says, a fever is necessary sometimes to burn out all the bullshit. Sometimes we need to ache. Sometimes we need to yearn. Sometimes we need to feel the loss inside of ourselves. My cat just fell off the windowsill, FYI. Whoever said cats are graceful. Anyway, segue. We need to sometimes feel the hot climate of our desires through how we are lacking what we are truly wanting in order to salve it, in order to cool it. You've got to reach such great heights to gain perspective. And sometimes the climb can be arduous. And I don't like being sweaty, and I super don't like being stinky. Ew. But alas, this is a week to get super comfortable with your sweat and your stink, because it is yours and only you know where it came from. That is the worst metaphor ever. But there it is. We have to be in the soup of ourselves to understand better why we are pontificating with others the way that we are, why we're saying one thing but really feeling another, why we overhelp or underhelp our spouse, why we overtalk or undertalk with our family members. There's always a nugget, a clue, a piece into where we need reparenting inside of ourselves. Little you needs some attention. And if that makes you cringe, like, even better. Because it's not easy. And Venus squaring Uranus says it's not easy because it must change. And in order to get to this like crazy fast moving Barbo's basket of cool cookiness and achievement and going and forward motion, we have to like unstick it. We have to fever out, guys. We have to allow ourselves to render bad metaphors in order to better understand what it is that we are needing to accomplish, overcome, and really access. That's my favorite word. What inside of us we need to access in order to move on. And you know, forgiving and forgetting is such a deep, dark place inside of us, because forgetting isn't real, because we have bones that hold on to every story. And I am a bone collector in my own right. All of my stories, because a girl does love a good story. I keep them all really deep inside, realizing that there are stories that I wrote when I was very, very young that got misinterpreted along the way and are now kind of taking up room in this here body. And it's time to rewrite them. It's time to get out of whatever process or whatever ritual or whatever routine it has my skin in and exfoliate that bitch. It's time. It's time to do a little gentle soul scrubbing and see what sloughs off, because you might surprise yourself with what's ready to go. You might surprise yourself with how easily you're ready to let go. And I think that's what this week is helping us with. I think that's what Barbo's basket really is coming to do, is to say, haven't we had enough? Same. I feel like there was this feeling of when COVID happened and we all stayed home for so long that we all got very familiar with our routines, with our relationships, with our patterning, with all of that. And we just kind of dug our heels in and sank deeper and kept our pajama pants on for too long. And now it's time to put on like the khakis. I hate khakis, you guys, but you know, whatever. A girl's got to do what she's got to do. If a bitch has got to wear some khakis to get the job done because the future is calling, I'll do it. I had to do it for 7 years when I worked at Red Robin. That's right, 7 years at Red Robin. Happy birthday songs 12 times a day. Whew. A bitch can wear some khakis for the future. So I want you to think about this week. So we have Monday, Venus squaring Uranus, old patterns. I want you to be very aware. I want you to, have a little convo with your little person in there, your little guy, your little human that just like didn't get the love it wants, because the new moon on Tuesday wants us to set that free, wants us to hold ourselves and say, I've got you. No matter what this big change is, no matter what I'm dreaming up, because new moons are for dreaming. And Cancer is ruled by the moon, so it's extra dreamy. Dream. It's extra beautiful to get sensitive, to get quiet, to take some time with yourself and say, but what do I really want? If you take a blanket thing like, I just want so much money. I just want this job. I just want this one thing so much, this one person, this one job, this one cash, windfall. If you just want this one thing so bad, I want you to really take it apart this week and say, what does this one person, one job, one cash windfall really represent, and what would I presume it to heal inside of me? And oh my God, there's the medicine. Heal that first, guys. If I know that money is an interesting topic, because we think that money can heal a lot, and it can, because money stress is pretty profound. But so is lack mentality. So is fear-based thinking due to a lack of resource. Now that is ancestral. That shit goes back, way through time, way through viscera, way through soul, and rewinds it all the way back to the beginning of resource. of feeling resourced. And so if it's about money, I want you to go to that original resource inside of yourself and say, what is lacking there that money can't heal? Because I'll tell you, those rich people don't look that happy to me. Like, what? You can literally go to an island whenever you want and like stay in a cabin on the water whenever you want. Why aren't you happy? And it's because, and what this week is really highlighting, and why I want you to get right with Jesus about this, is that getting what you want or what you think you want isn't always the answer. Getting what you think you deserve, I put that in air quotes, isn't always the vibe, because really you have to think, where did it come from in the first place? So that's your homework too. Where does your desire come from in the first place? Because I guarantee you it's not really about that person. It's not really about the money. It's not really about the accomplishment. It is about how it reflects through you and about you, and what it says and what you think that that accomplishment will hold for you. Because if you aren't giving that to yourself, how are you going to get it from the outside world? Oof. That finger trap. That's what I think of. You put your finger at either end and you get stuck. It's only when you work your fingers together, slowly, quietly, without effort, that then the trap lets go. And to me, I think about that reference a lot in terms of how stuck and twisted we can get inside ourselves, thinking that if only we had, we would be. If only I had, you can fill in this sentence for yourself. If only I had, what? I'll do it for me. If only I had astrological success, I would be satiated. If only I had astrological success, I would be satiated. So what does that erupt inside of me? Well, I already know, you guys. I did my homework. It is all self-worth. That if I became the famous astrologer this bitch so very much wants to be, then all of the sudden I would be getting all of this validation that in fact, what I say is important and helping people. And thus I'm getting all of that endorphin rush of being valuable. So I want to be valuable to other people, but am I valuable to myself? Guys, not a lot. I have a really hard time with loving myself. I have a really hard time with being gentle with myself. I don't know why. So here we go. Let's go down that portal. Let's go down that Cancer new moon portal of I don't know why I don't love myself enough. Well, sometimes when I was a kid, I didn't play with a lot of other kids. I was home alone. I was home in my own little world a lot. And maybe I was a little lonely. Maybe I didn't feel like I was unconditionally loved in certain parts of my life. And maybe those conditions forced me to be hyper vigilant in wanting to be helpful to my sibling, to my parents, to anybody around me so that I would have benefit to the family. So I started this little weird trend in my tiny little body that then equated worth with being worthwhile to others. So here, cue me, this 42-year-old adult, literally crawling and scraping my way up this astrological mountain, oftentimes feeling completely insignificant in the great void of what I am trying to do. And deep down, what it is I just don't think that I am worth it or valuable enough. And is that going to get me success? Nope. Will it still move the needle because I'm working so hard? Yeah. But until I heal this, I need to be valuable to you, until I say I also need to be valuable to myself, I can't unlock the magic of success because of where it comes from, because of the dysregulated self that blocks my way every single time, because the way that I am projecting and putting it out into the world is tainted with my inner child bullshit. So that's just an example of the work we can be doing this week. Is it going to heal this week? I don't know. I mean, maybe you're a boss. Maybe you are like, ask and receive. Inner child healed. Maybe you can do that. To me, it feels like an ongoing story that has many, many chapters, that if this is your chapter 1, rad. If this is your chapter 52, also rad. Like, keep writing, keep doing it, keep going deeper into the real reason why you want the cookie. Because deep down, the cookie's just calories. It's just calories, you guys. It's your enjoyment of the cookie. It is your earning that cookie, not through hard work necessarily, but through self-actualization that makes that cookie taste just that much better. And that's what I have to say about that. That's why rich people can become so miserable, because they lose the script. They lose the why. They intrinsically forget the gratitude that should come with ease. And if there's too much ease, there comes complacency. In astrological charts, we have red lines and blue lines, the trines and squares and sextiles and oppositions and these kinds of things. For every red line that's hard, there's a blue line that can help teach us something. But when something is easy for us, we grow complacent and we forget to work at it. So just don't forget to work at it this week. Tuesday, new moon in Cancer. And then Wednesday, Uranus is going to sextile Neptune. This is a breakthrough, you guys. When we have these beautiful abilities, Uranus wants breakthroughs and big change, making positive aspects to our dreams. That's this Barbo's basket forming. It's saying you're allowed to have big dreams. You are. You are allowed. Yes, you can have them. And if you're not willing to change for them, if you're not willing to do the soul work, it's not just about clocking in, you guys. It's not just about doing the work. Lord knows I do the work. What it is it's about doing the inner work, the clearing out, the swabbing of the decks. I mean, you see that so much, like Karate Kid, wax on, wax off. It's not always about the big flashy kicks, as Conor McGregor learned this weekend, if you follow that in bracket. Boy, did he get some karmic retribution, and boy, am I happy about that. It's not always about the fancy kicks, you guys. It's about your structure. It's about what holds you. It's about what moves you to do what you do in this world. It is soul work. And it's deep. And Uranus sextiling Neptune says if you're willing to change, your dreams are willing to move closer to you. So that's Wednesday. Do you feel this? Like, I can feel this buildup. And then Uranus is trining Pluto, part of this Barbo's basket. And so now this big change is ready to transform us. And are you ready? Are you ready to transform? You can get on this train or you can wait for the next one, but this is a good train to get on. So I highly recommend you jump on up this week. That alley-oop we've been waiting for. And then we end the week with Mars sextiling Saturn. So all of a sudden our warrior, who's kind of been through a time, to be honest, astrologically speaking, it's been, it's felt like it was de-weaponized for a while. It's been confused. It's been frustrated. Now our warrior planet is making a positive aspect to Saturn, saying, I'm willing to learn the lesson now. Or I want to, not just willing. Oh my God, I want to. I want to do it better. I want to heal. I want to figure it out, because here's something that I did when I was younger, and I'm not proud of it, you guys, so don't tell anybody. When I was younger and there were group projects, I would get very intimidated of being a leader. I would get very intimidated of coming off stupid to other people. It's my core wound, the idea that I'm going to come off not well prepared or stupid. Thus, cue me doing podcasts without scripts. Why? I don't know. I apparently really like to put myself in this situation because I didn't learn it when I was a little person. How about that? Because I'd get put in groups and I would just shrink. I would be a shrinking violet and I wouldn't help. I wouldn't put in the work to learn it, to participate, to be a good member of that group because I was so afraid of what I didn't know. I was so afraid of what I didn't know that I didn't show up, that I didn't participate. And so do you think I learned? No, I didn't. And so then school started to become really, really hard for me. And then I started to feel like I wasn't smart anyway. The thing I was trying to avoid, I built up inside me so strong. And then I've heard some reflections. As I got older, I worked extra hard in school because I didn't set myself up foundationally well as a young person because I was so afraid of these group projects, so afraid of group learning. I still get a little red-chested when I think about group activities where I'm having to learn with a group, because coming off stupid is still very, very scary to me. But it made me have to work extra hard because I was taking what I'll put in air quotes, the easy way. So the easy way only really brings up more of the hard way later, is the hard lesson of that. And guess what? A bunch of people that knew me in high school have reflected back to me that they thought I was like the smart one. And probably because I wore glasses. But also that reflection back to me is that their perception of me was that I was smart. How interesting. Because boy, was that the story of my ages, of my life, is that I'm not smart. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. It's a growth moment. It's a growth experience. And now I try to be a leader. I try to put myself in those really uncomfortable positions. I try to be the one that speaks first. I try to come to you with a proverbial blank page, no script, because I want to push myself, to work my brain, to knead the dough of my own intelligence, to bring it up so that I can find that confidence. And maybe doing this podcast week after week is really the thing that is healing that part of me that doesn't feel valuable, that part of me that doesn't feel smart enough. And so I'm going to give to other people as a smoke screen to not give to myself. Maybe this showing up every Monday is healing that a little bit. I like to think so. So that's the week, you guys. And the card I pulled is Happy Happy. Oh, I love it. A card that says happy, happy, and it's some bitch with rainbows all around her on an egg of something. We're hatching something. And listen, I don't like to overemphasize astrology in a way that we set ourselves up for failure, but don't set yourself up for failure this week. Set yourself up to be supported so that when everything starts going down next week, this Barbo's basket comes and it's touching certain parts of your chart that all of the sudden get ignited and alighted. Show up for it. Don't be tardy. Don't not show. Don't stay in your pajama pants. Put on those ugly ass khaki pants and say, what can I do to move that needle? Because boy, is the energy positive. Boy, does it want to do something for us. So let it. And how you let it is by doing some of the work yourself too. All right? Thank you so much for listening. As always, my call to action is to share me, is to get my name out there in your friend group, because if we're friends, I want to be friends with your friends, because if you like me and I like you, then I'm sure I'm going to like all your friends. Your friends are my friends and vice versa. And when we all start theming, it's like theme parties. A girl loves a good theme party. When we do theme parties, or let's take it deeper, I guess, when we're all praying together or all vibing together or all writing together or all just coming together on a concept, on a thought, on a whim, on a journey, then that journey, that thought, that concept, that whim, that thing gets ignited and alighted in a way that we can never do just on our own. And while I say this week is a very internal week to do this work, it is then how we share the work, what we've done to ourselves, for ourselves, that really alights others to do their work, to show up for themselves. So I say, always, please share me with someone who you also care about so that we may all care about each other. And eventually the circle gets so wide that not only do I attain my goal of being a successful astrologer, you attain yours too, in your own ways, in the work that you're choosing to do. And if we're all doing the work together, imagine what we could accomplish as a whole instead of just separate. Thank you again, and I will see you next week for that Barbo's basket. Whoop, whoop.